Crouching Chronicles, starring my love, Jim and John. Here we talk about wrestling, everything inside the ropes. Well, Crouching Chronicles, Crouching Chronicles, Crouching Chronicles, Crouching Chronicles, Crouching Chronicles, starring my love, Jim and John.
Thank you to my friend in California that made that song for me. I'm so lucky. That's right. That's me, Malachimbi Jones. And that song was made for me by somebody that just in my life where I met and didn't meet. Thank you, Barb, because nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see my face. You'd rather hear my voice because we're here to talk about pro wrestling. This is the Crowd Chant Chronicles Pro Wrestling Podcast. We're here once again to talk. This is our second episode in the SummerSlam series we're doing. And I'm going to tell you right now, you probably hear me talk like a snake, and I probably sound like one too. Hey, Diamond Dallas Barb, how are you doing today? What's your favorite animal at the zoo?
Uh, I'm doing good. My favorite animal at the zoo, oh, probably has to be the giraffe.
You know who looks like a giraffe?
Who?
Me. I'm 6'2" and I got a big old long neck. Come on, I look like a giraffe. Thank you for always being on the episodes and enjoying these goofy questions that I love to ask. Joe Dallas, welcome back. What's your favorite animal at the zoo, and how are you doing today?
I am doing pretty well today, and the favorite animal at the zoo is, of course, the monkeys. They're the most entertaining animal at the zoo. The monkeys.
Oh my God, Joe Dallas! Guess who looks like a monkey?
I'm guessing you're going to say you.
I do. I have big ears and lips like a monkey, and I have hair all over my body like a monkey. I honestly probably look like a chimpanzee flying around, just 6 foot, 6'2" chimpanzee. And welcome back to the show again. Coming back on, he was on our huge, gigantic. Let's talk about every event because I'm a crazy person. Pro wrestling episode that we just did. Please go back and watch it. You should and subscribe to this. But thank you for coming back, Rams. And how are you? And what is your favorite animal at the zoo?
I'm doing all right, and my favorite animal at the zoo is the lemurs.
I could look like them, but that would be after like not sleeping for a day and a half and 8 cups of coffee. That's how it would be. Um, thank all three of you for coming on. Once again, a great episode we're about to do. Um, I want to just give a shout out because all three of these people I know from somewhere. I want to give a shout out to my friend Cactus F and Chris on TikTok. Please check them out. Please follow them. Trivia, pro wrestling, reviews, and a blast. And then I also please follow Chair Shots. Diamond Dallas Barb comes on right before SmackDown. She does trivia. She talks about the show. She has fun. She has a ball, and she really puts a lot of time and effort into it, and that's not easy. And then also come on Chair Shots and watch my friend Joe Dallas, who'll be doing Raw Hangover. Apparently, may have a special appearance by a certain Canadian black haired, pink sunglassing wearing wrestler soon. We'll see what happens. But please go follow my guest. And Rams, you can see him up in the comments. You can see him in some lives. He has a great wrestling mind and loves a debate. So I just want to give a shout out to all three of my guests. Usually I come on and I talk about my sponsors. Today I want to talk about my guests because I'm lucky. I wouldn't have a podcast if I didn't have all the guests I have. So thank you to you three. Let's get into it. SummerSlam series, second episode. We're going to talk about it right now. Second episode, we once again go to the list from WWE.com and we looked and found what was number 4 on this list. Number 5, obviously, if you watched it, it was SummerSlam 2008. And if you didn't watch it, please go back. Go back and see how we talk and see what guests were on the show and talk about the episode. Today, the number 4 on the list was the 1998 SummerSlam, which was also called, and this ain't TikTok, so I can say it, Highway to Hell. That's what it was called. It was the 11th annual SummerSlam Pro Wrestling pay per view. It was in New York City, Madison Square Garden, 21,588. I'm going to get right into it. The fun fact that I'm going to find, and this is kind of a silly fact, but I like silly things. And the fact is that this was the first time that legitimately Stone Cold Steve Austin he remembers. Well, doesn't really remember obviously because if you get knocked out, you don't remember. But he got knocked out by the Undertaker, and it happened in the main event match, and it was pretty. We're going to talk about that match, but what do we think about Hmm, I'm going to ask you this actually, Diamond Dallas Bar. And go to everybody else. I want to hear everybody's answer. When you think about the Attitude Era and chair shots and people getting knocked out, do you think that this is where everything kind of started with some other things? If you know what I mean, like head injuries, CTE, maybe the Attitude Era is where it started. Do you think of it that way?
Repeat that.
What I'm trying to say basically is like, okay, Stone Cold Steve Austin got legitimately knocked out at the 1998 SummerSlam. During the Attitude Era, there were a lot of chair shots. I mean, The Rock hitting Mick Foley with a bunch. Stone Cold definitely took a bunch of chair shots. Do you think that the Attitude Era's, I would say, recklessness with chair shots in the head paid was something that CTE is the reason that's where CTE came from, is from those years of the Attitude Era. Do you agree with that, or do you have something a different thought to that?
I mean, it definitely contributed it to it. A lot of the wrestlers that have issues and stuff nowadays and everything, they were stars of the Attitude Era, and they weren't holding back in the Attitude Era. I mean, you could just tell they weren't holding back. Um, I would say yes. I would say yes.
Joe Dallas, do you feel this way also that the chair shots contributed to the recklessness and how the Attitude Era had their matches contributed later to the style of not the style but where CTE and issues with the head came from?
I don't know if it excuse me. I don't know if it started there, but it definitely got a lot worse because of that. Um, some of those chair shots that we saw during that time period were just insane. The fact that Mick Foley hasn't been suffering from more stuff than like that with the CTE and stuff is actually a miracle at this point. Because I remember most of the chair shots I remember were Mick Foley just getting smashed around with some steel chairs.
Mick Foley, it's actually kicking in on Mick Foley now. He's having some issues with memory loss now, and it's sad. It's really like, damn, man, he was so good in more ways. Why did they have to do that to him? But it is what it is. Rams, do you also agree with these? With Joe and Diamond Dallas Barb, do you also agree that they were reckless back in the Attitude Era and their recklessness attributed to CTE and all that stuff that happened?
Yeah, I think they were very reckless, and it contributed very heavily to the CTE and their superstars. I think a lot of people who are messed up now are messed up because of chair shots.
Like for example, who would you say that?
One, you can tell Goldberg's suffering from it a little bit.
That's what I was going to say. That Goldberg, you can tell right away, his mood swings are very off, and he did take a lot of chair shots towards the end of WCW. So,
I will say this, though. I don't necessarily think it's just chair shots. I think it was pretty much everything that they did in the Attitude Era. Like, they did do a lot of, let's just be honest, they did a lot of finishers that really put a lot of strain on the head. And they did do a lot of other spots that were very, very dangerous. I mean, especially like at WCW and all of these other places, like getting thrown off of ladders into multiple tables and everything, smacking your head on the back of these tables and smacking your head on cement and everything. they didn't protect themselves enough back then.
I agree. I agree. They didn't protect their wrestlers enough. You know, the mats could have been better. There could have been better outside protections, and then also I like that certain moves now are banned, and I know some people are weird about that, but I think some things should be banned. So certain things like the stunner. Okay, as much as we all love Stone Cold, that move snaps your neck. You can really do some damage to somebody and really hurt them, or really mess with their spine, and then they have to get spinal like surgery, which is extremely painful. So it's rough. But let's move. Well, wait. Well, wait. I'm sorry. Before we move on, I forgot. Everyone else has a fun fact, and I want to hear from DDB first and hear your fun fact. Tell me what you got.
So my fun fact would have to be it's about a moment on the undercard. It was the hair versus hair match. So at the end of the match, you guys can clearly see that the clippers had really malfunctioned and everything. And it was they were pretty bad quality clippers that they used. They ended up having to end up cutting his hair, but it was taking so much time that they couldn't get him bald enough. So he never even went bald. He literally ended up rocking a shorter haircut just a couple of days later.
And you're talking about double J.
Yep.
So JEFFJARRET. You talking about him, right?
Hmm.
Okay. What does anybody else want to say anything to this fun fact that Barb found before we move on to your facts, Joe or Rams?
No, I'm good.
No, I'm good.
I want to say something. I like that he rocked the buzz cut, yo. That buzz cut that he had changed his character, and it helped him, and it helped me like Jeff Jarrett because I used to hate when he came out with his like weird strappy things. I was like, and he did his little dance. Even when he had the road dog, I was like, bro, get off my TV. I want to see Razor Ramon wrestle somebody better. But when he changed his haircut, he did good. But I like that fact. That's fun. Joe Dowse, what fun fact do you have for me?
In the ladder match, which arguably was the best match on the show, we'll get into that a little bit later. But during the ladder match, Triple H was suffering from a pretty severe knee injury at the time, which makes it that much more amazing that he actually got through that match because apparently his knee was in very bad shape to the point where he actually had to relinquish the title a couple of weeks later.
Wait. Oh, wait. So I want to know, does anybody know who he relinquished the title to?
I'm pretty sure he just relinquished it, and then they had like some kind of tournament or something.
Oh,
I don't know.
really?
I think maybe Ken Shamrock won it after that, but I don't know for sure.
Well, that makes sense. Ken Shamrock would be the tournament winning bastard that he is. Wow. I didn't. Did anybody else know this? Barb, did you know this?
I actually did because they covered it up on the pre-show. If you guys didn't know, and if you guys watched the pre-show, which was Heat at the time, uh The Rock had an interview on the pre-show and everything like that. And there was a brawl that happened on Heat, and The Rock literally hit Triple H in the back of the knee with the title on the pre-show to cover up the fact that Triple H legit was hurt. And they know that he was going to be moving slow in the match and everything. So they used that opportunity to do something to go ahead and build it up, and they built up that feud on the pre-show, even right before that match. So I thought it was fun.
Bram, did you know this? That Triple H was injured during
No,
this
I did
match?
not know that.
I had no idea. Wow. All right, Rams. What fun fact do you have for us? That now that they've blown my mind, are you going to blow my mind?
The Heat pre-show for this SummerSlam was the worst rated Heat up to that point.
No, I love Sunday Night Heat. I like Sunday Night Heat is like it's a great show. It really is. It's one of my favorite shows out there. And this was the worst rated one.
Up to that point, yes, it was.
And
I mean,
it's surprising that it was, considering that, like I said, so much stuff happened on that pre-show that it was a fun watch. So that's actually very surprising.
To be fair though, Too Much did beat LOD 2000 in a match on this card.
yeah, Scott, Grandmaster Sexy's over here beating Animal and Hawk. What's happening? And then you also got the Harris brothers beating Vader and Bradshaw. Stop it. Stop that. That's the only thing I don't like about this event is the damn pre-show. So I'm happy, Rams. They told me it got worst rated pre-show ever at the time because this is a horrible pre-show. It's horrible, really. Let's move on though, and let's talk about mid-card matches. If anybody out there who's like, "Oh, I'm Brendan's aunt, and I listen to the show," or "I'm Molly Chimpy Jones' aunt, and I listen to the show." That's right. Spoiler! I just said my real name. There it is. A mid-card match is the match that happens in the middle of the show, or sometimes the beginning. It's just a mid-level match. Nothing too crazy. Sometimes stars come from the mid-card. That's what the mid-card match is. So Diamond Dallas Bar. I want everybody to hopefully talk about a different one. And I'll actually start with you, Joe Dallas. Joe Dallas, let's start with you. What mid card match drew you in like the Death Star draws in a spaceship? What drew you in?
It would have like fun fact about me also, I am a huge fan of Sean Waltman, X Pac, 123 Kid, Six Pac, whatever you call him, whatever you want to call him at the time. That was probably my second favorite, maybe third favorite match on the card was the hair versus hair match with X Pac and Jeff Jarrett. Um, it was actually a pretty decent match, and X Pac won, so I was happy about that. And then we got to see all of my other favorite guys come out when the New Age Outlaws and the Headbangers and Draws came out to help shave his head. So I was very happy with that match. It was a great match.
Diamond Dallas Barb, do you want to say something about that match because you had your microphone off, or did you just
I didn't specifically like the match so much, but I think everything surrounding the match was actually the best part of the match. Um, so like basically on the pre-show, like I said, a lot of things happened. Howard Finkel got his head shaved on the pre-show. So seeing Howard Finkel come out
Whoa,
in a
wait.
DX shirt,
Who shaved his head?
Jeff Jarrett.
Oh lordy! All right, keep
So
going.
the thing is, leading up to this match, he was on a rampage and he was shaved, like he was cutting everybody's hair. That's why the headbangers came out and Draws and everybody. They were all victims of Jeff Jarrett and losing their hair within the past couple of weeks. So and Howard Finkel became the latest victim of Jeff Jarrett. So it was quite it was quite uh it was definitely funny watching Howard Finkel come out and wearing a DX shirt as an honorary member of DX, and then him doing the DX chop and saying "suck it" and stuff. And then it was cool after the match when they were getting like despite the whole fiasco with the Clippers and everything like that, and they ended up having to cut that segment a little short because of the Clipper failure and stuff like that. Seeing all the victims come out to get Jeff's head shaved was really funny, considering they were playing with his hair and they were like putting it on their head and they were like hee, and it was so funny. I
Yeah,
liked I liked before the match and after the match a lot better than the actual match.
You like the wrestling part of it, the storyline part of it, the fun and the theatrics of it more so than the flips and the suplexes. Correct? Is that what you're kind of saying?
Well, the thing is, the match didn't have a lot going for it. I mean, there was a lot of botches in the match and everything and stuff, and there was even one point that X-Pac went up to the top rope really fast and then went to jump on Jeff Jarrett outside the ring, and he slipped and he almost if he didn't catch himself really well, he would have ended up probably breaking his neck. So there was just a lot of botches in that match and stuff. So I enjoyed the theatrics before and after the match better than the actual match, because to me the match didn't live up to the expectations of that feud.
I I think it's Jeff Jarrett and X Pac, and you gotta like. I'm not saying that you're saying like Barb, it's going to be like the most amazing match ever, but there's going to be a botch. There's going to be a mistake. It's X Pac and Jeff Jarrett. I mean, come on, they're on pay per view. They're probably pooping their pants like Ric Flair does now. They they were kind of nervous, so I understand it, and I think if anything, I want to say props, cheers, clap. That's right to Vince McMahon for letting this match be on the card. He gave X Pac and Jeff Jarrett a chance to wrestle on SummerSlam, and I like that.
Yeah.
Um, Joe, do you have anything else to say besides this match that you loved on this card, or the mid card
um,
match?
I had forgotten about it till Barb mentioned it.
Oh,
The fact that Howard Finkel was out there with the DX T-shirt over his tux, like he was, or his suit or whatever. He just put the T-shirt on over the rest of his gear. That was amazing. Like it made me laugh so hard that he was just like randomly coming out there in a suit with the DX T-shirt on, and then he yelled "suck it." Like that was awesome.
oh, all praise, great Howard Finkel. I mean, how can you not love the Fink? Rams, what match on the in the mid card blew your mind out there?
I mean, I don't know if it would be technically mid card because it was for a title, but I like the D'Lo Val Venus match because like the ending where the ref interfered and how he reacted to that kind of made me interested to see how the story would end up the next Monday on Raw and see where they were going with it.
I was actually interested in it also. I'm like, wow, this is kind of wild how this match ended. What happened next? And I try to look it up, but I don't know. Sometimes with these shows, because it's talking about just SummerSlam, I'm not too worried what happened after. But I did like that, like Val Venus put the vest on. He tried to go at him. Did anybody else like this match?
I I feel the ending kind of screwed the whole match up for me, but I really liked pretty much everything in that match besides the ending. Uh these two guys they really meshed well together and everything. So these two guys um these two guys they they worked really really well together and I enjoyed their entire match and stuff. But then end up fighting over the vest, which the ref was like literally distracting him over basically a piece of clothing. It kind of was like normally at normally the ref would not get involved in his shenanigans like that. So for the ref to end up going out there and doing that to the baby face of the scenario, basically, um, and and then all of this other stuff go on, and then finally Val Venus gets fed up and just pushes them. It dampened the entire mood, especially considering that Val Venus debuted not too long ago. Before this match, it was his very first title opportunity in the WWF. It it kind of dampened the mood and brought the match down for me a little bit.
You don't think that they were trying to get people interested though? Because you said Val Venus like I know he did. He just debuted like a few months before this. This was a new feud they were trying to do with D'Lo and Val, which I mean we all know became a bigger thing and a longer thing for a little bit. You don't think that's what they were trying to do with the referee? Is try to get like sometimes you don't want the match to end. You want the fan to come back. That's what I looked at it. I was like, wow, they did that so we can watch another one of their matches. You didn't see it that way, Diamond Dallas Pard?
I didn't, because at that time, with his gimmick at the time, he already had fans. Like, the crowd was going nuts for him. He was already on the map with the fans and everything. And like, the girls were just oogling and ogling over him. Granted, that is his persona, but the fans really did play into it. So I felt in this scenario, I wouldn't say that. Um, and I felt like I felt the match spoke for itself. The guys in this match, with them feuding and stuff like that, and them meshing really well together, I think the match stood for itself, that they would want to come back just for the match. So for them to do that and have basically the baby face, which by the way, D'Lo being the only bad guy in the entire card to win, and he only won via disqualification because of a baby face in the scenario, basically getting DQ'd, that kind of rubbed me the wrong way.
I mean, like I said, I think it was to continue the feud. Joe Dallas, what were your thoughts on this match? What did you take away from it?
I thought it was a great match, other than the ending. Like Barb said, the fact that the referee actually like grabbed Val Venus's foot off the top rope and kind of like made him like crotch himself on the turnbuckle or whatever. I didn't understand it. I just watched it back yesterday again to get ready for this, and I was very confused by that. I don't know if anything ever came with from that, but yeah, everything Barb said pretty much, I kind of feel the same way. He was over with the crowd. All he had to do was go out there and do the hello, ladies, and like he was over. So yeah, it was a good match with a shitty ending, in my opinion.
Everyone can go to Chair Shots and watch how many wrestlers Joe's going to be impersonating in the next few months, because it sounds like he might have to be doing Val Venus soon from that impersonation right there. And
Hello, ladies.
I don't have a bunch of I don't have a lot of them. I can do a
Right.
few of them, but you know,
right,
they will all be popping up at some point, I'm sure.
he's become an impressionist. Everyone, you've heard it here on the Crowd Chain Chronicles. We have we've opened the window up for Joe to be an impressionist, and look what he's doing. He's doing Bret Hart. He's Val Venus. In a few days, he'll be doing R-Truth. I can see it already. Diamond Dallas Pard, what mid card match stood out to you in this event?
One of the ones that stood out, and I think it was definitely because of the feud itself that stood out. Because I don't want to sit here and I don't want to pick the obvious ones, about like basically the two main events, you could say. The match that stood out for me was actually the Mix Max intergender match with Sable and Edge versus Mark Miro and Jacqueline. Um, that feud actually had me very interested in everything. With Jacqueline just always freaking just attacking Sable and the arm wrestling contest that those two women had and everything. And then Sable having to find a partner. So out comes basically the debuting Edge. Granted, it was not his debut, but he had only just debuted a little while before. He only had just literally one or two matches before this. This was his pay-per-view debut. And he came out from the ring and everything, and they meshed really well together. And just the Sable just kicking Mark Miro's butt, and just Edge. This was the match that got Edge on my, like, piqued my interest about Edge. This was the match that piqued my interest about Edge, that I was like, you know what? I saw him in this match and everything. I just looked at him and I was like, this man's gonna be a star. And I mean, I was right. Edge definitely became a star. He became a bona fide Hall of Famer. Um, it was definitely a fun match, and it was just like, no matter what Jacqueline and Mark Miro tried to do, Edge and Sable had a counter for it. And it was just fun. It was really fun. Um, and the ending was quite unique and stuff. And then just Edge was like, okay, thanks, Sable, bye. And he just walked out from the crowd, and they just parted ways. And it was definitely something that you don't normally see. So it was fun.
I'm gonna go and say it right now. Edge used to be cool as shit, and now he's poopy Duke. He used to come out of the crowd, used to leave from the crowd, not care, do that slide in the ring, and now he's poopy Duke. It is what it is. Rams, what did you like this match? What did you think of it?
Yeah, I actually really enjoyed that match. Watching that match, not knowing anything about what happened previously to it, I honestly thought Sable and Edge had been a tag team because how well they were working together in that match and how well they fit together as a tag team.
So, do you think that like they could have continued possibly? Like they could have had more matches as a tag team? Like Sable and Edge could have kept bouncing
That's
off of each other?
yeah.
I mean, they could have went up against Stephanie and Triple H. I mean, when you really think about it, that's who the top people are. Like not that far away from it. Here's the one thing I'm gonna say, and I want to hear everybody's thoughts on this. I'm not gonna. Whoever wants to speak first can speak, and then we can speak next. I never got the Sable deal. I'm sorry. I didn't understand it. She could do a few moves, so why do we make fun of wrestlers now who can do a few moves, but we were cool and Sable could do it? So I never got to deal with Sable. There's my gripe about Sable. I want to hear what everybody thinks about what I just said. That I didn't really get to deal with Sable. I don't think she was that great. Whoever wants to
I
speak first can go ahead.
I 100% agree with you. No, like the whole time, like she was hot and everything. Like she was beautiful and all that. She couldn't really work in the ring. She did enough to get through matches and not look like complete dog shit, but that's really it. There was like nobody. There's no like moments in a Sable match that anybody remembers. Like there's no memorable moments in any match Sable ever had. That and the fact that I was always in love with Sunny at that time, so I had no room for Sable.
I have an opinion on what you just said. I think you, Mr. Amala Jimmy Jones, are a little bit of a hypocrite. I'm sorry to say it, but I think you are. Um, because if you don't, if you remember, not too long ago, we did a huge WrestleMania series, and your favorite moment from the time period for a women's match out of the few that we had, instead of choosing Trish and the Trish Lita Jazz match like me and Dunbar had chose as the best women's match of that time period, you chose the Sable match. And you said they're really showcasing women at this time, and it was awesome, and they were actually getting down in that ring and everything. So where's your thought on Sable now?
Just be okay.
Of course, she remembers all of that, though.
Oh, she always does. She remembers everything. But I'll say this. I'll say. Well, I'll say it. You can hear me out. What did I say? I said they're really showing women's wrestling right now, because I think, who did Sable? I can't remember who Sable wrestled at that one. Maybe it was
I
Tori.
think it was Ivory.
Ivory. Okay, so there you go. Ivory is a great wrestling star. So I was saying it because of both of them. I wasn't saying it because of Sable. What I mean when I say I don't get to deal with Sable, I don't think she's that great. Meaning, like, they could have done more with somebody else. That's what I meant by that. So
Well, I mean, I can 100% accept that, but I just remember back then you chose Sable over Trish, Lita, and Jazz as the best match of the era for the women. And you really were talking about, you were talking not just about Ivory, you were talking hardcore about Sable as well. And I'm pretty sure you mentioned on a few occasions when talking about Sable that she could, like, yeah, she wasn't the greatest, but she was really doing her thing in the ring, and you were really hyping Sable up. And now you are Sable's poopy. So I just really think it's funny
well,
that
she
you
can, I'm
went.
saying, like, she can do her thing in the ring, which is like grind around and stuff, but she's not like, I'm over here like the greatest wrestling champion in WWF. Like, no, Sable, I'm
No,
sorry, you're not that great. You're not great. You're not on the greatness. I just don't see her on greatness. I'm sorry. I could.
no, and I can agree with you. Sable was there to do a power bomb, and that was basically it, in the sense of not just this match, but overall. But you also had Jacqueline in this ring, who was amazing as well. Jacqueline is a Hall of Famer for a reason. Um,
Hold on. Before we get to Jacqueline, we can't leave Rams over here, over in the corner, with not hearing what he has to say about Sable. So Rams, what did you think about Sable? Did you think she was great? What were your, when you look at Sable, and what thoughts pop into your head?
I mean, I thought she was decent in that match. I didn't see anything really special from her. So I don't have much experience from her match that I've seen. So from that match, I didn't see anything that fantastic. I mean, she worked well with Edge. I think she could have done a little better with Edge, but as solo, I don't think she would have been that great because a lot of her moves that she did during that match were off of him.
he just didn't want to mention
No, no,
her
no, no.
handprint.
No, Barb. No, Barb. You heard what he said. I love what Rams just said right there. The perfect thing he said. Jay Leno. I'm trying to think of somebody else. I might only have Jay Leno in my mind right now because that's who popped in my head. People that have to work off of other wrestlers, meaning like, you pick me up and slam me, or I'm gonna lay around in the ring and then you come in and clean house. Those aren't great wrestlers. They're just people that are lucky that they can Brutus the Barber Beefcake somebody's hightails, if you know what I mean by that. Meaning, Brutus the Barber Beefcake was best friends of Hulk Hogan for a very long time. He's lucky he got to WWF because of his connections. So I like what Rams, you are a
I
smart
think,
man, sir.
but the thing is, I don't think that she, like, yeah, she worked well with Edge in the tag team match, but at the same time, granted, I just want to clarify this. Do I believe that Sable is the best wrestler of all time or anything, or even the best female wrestler in that match? No, I am not saying that. But I do want to clarify this. She had one move with Edge and everything, but she wanted to start the match and stuff like that, but Jacqueline had backed out. She was whipping all over Mark Miro by herself. She was punching him in the face. She was about to deliver a power bomb on him. She was doing her own. She wasn't just using Edge in that match. So I do want to clarify. I just wanted to say that.
Barb, we all remember different things. Sometimes I like to remember that Hulk Hogan did a top rope Frankensteiner to Andre the Giant to win WrestleMania 3. But he really body slammed him and hit a leg drop. So we all remember it different ways. It's okay. Let's move on. Everyone, all three of you named great mid card matches. I'm not going to name one because I think you guys covered all the really good ones. And there's one other one with Mick Foley getting his head smashed in by Kane with a sledgehammer. But we don't need to talk about that. It's Mick Foley. We know what happens with him. He wants to get hit with sledgehammers. Let's move on to the show stealer because I think we all can agree, and I hope we do, that there's one match that stole this show. It was
The ladder match?
It was, yes, it was a ladder match, and it was made only 8 days before the event. Does everybody know that?
Yes.
Yes.
Well, let's see you two do. All right, well, let's hear from Rams. Rams, walk me through this ladder match. Do you think it's great? What did you like about it? And if anything, if we all have watched different ladder matches throughout history, what would you change? Tell me these things.
I really enjoyed the match. I thought with him, after finding out he'd been injured, it made it that much better that how he worked through the match and made it and put on a really good match and honestly the best match of the night. The ending for me though, I didn't with him being a face or supposed to be a face. I didn't like that he had to have China interfere to help save the match for him.
I kind of see that and I kind of don't because I did see that and I was like, maybe this is a way to like be the DX that they are, meaning like DX is one of the factions, not like the NWO. The NWO is bad all the time, but DX could walk that line of good and bad at one point. They kind of were tweeners. So I wasn't against that. The thing I was against during this match is outside the ring. Why is there always a 20-minute, it feels like, to pick up the ladder and carry it to the ring? Don't you feel that way, Rams? In some of the older ladder matches, they had to fight down the aisle to get there.
Yeah, one reason for that could be that the older ladders were a lot heavier than what they're using now. So if they're just slower, more cumbersome, they don't want to end up hitting a fan with turning because it's got all that swing weight to it for when you turn. So they just have to take a slower pace with those heavier ladders.
I didn't even think about that. That's amazing to think about.
But
The fans.
also, when you think about it, those matches are really, or those ladders are really awkward to carry. Ladders in general are just one of those awkward things to carry and stuff like that. Because like what Ram said, the swing momentum and everything. So like even if you're walking with them, you got to make sure these ladders are really large and the outside ring area isn't that large either. So you got to make sure that you're not accidentally hitting one of the people in the crowd who are bending over the the ring barrier and stuff like that. So there's a lot of those situations you got to think that you got to be safe, especially with people at ringside.
You always have to be, but then there's deathmatch shows where it's like everyone sit in the front row. The last match is going to be exploding glass tubes, and then they're like, and it's like, my eyeball. It's like, oh no. That's why I'm usually like, I'll just stand in the back. I'm good. I'm gonna have a hot dog and just watch, just scope.
You don't want none of that glass with your hot dog.
Nah, I'm good. They asked me the one time, they're like, would you like to come help set the ring up? We have to open the barbed wire. I was like, You kidding me? I do that, cut my whole hand open. No, me. Well, that happened. That has never happened before. Like, well, rush me to the hospital, give me stitches. No, it'd be bad. No, I don't want to do any of that stuff. I like to sit. I like to sit far away for those events and closer for events that don't have that stuff. But I have a question to ask everybody. I'm going to ask all three of you. We're going to go the order of Rams, Joe, and DDB to finish it up. This is a rock. This is Triple H. You heard Rams told us Triple H had China kind of help him win towards the end. Who should have won this match, Rams? Did the right man win the match? Tell me. What do you think?
I think at the time of the match he did, but coming after with what had to happen with his injury and having, I honestly think The Rock, knowing what we know now, I think The Rock should have won this match.
Just because of the injury, not because like he was actually gaining traction with the fans playing the big guy character he did. You don't think because of that also?
Well, he's also would have kept the belt in the position of being what it was. It was a higher mid-card title at the time. It was people were actually wanting to fight for it. He was a reason that belt people wanted to fight for because he was so over as being the bad guy.
Joe Dallas, I'm gonna ask you kind of like the same question. Did the right guy win this match? Do you think that Triple
I
H
I
should have won this
I
match?
think the right guy did win because if you remember, it was only a few months later in November. The Rock was winning the WWE Championship for the first time. So like he was on his way up. He was on his way at this point past the Intercontinental title. So I think they didn't see Triple H as that guy yet. So he won the match, and obviously with the knee injury, that would be I think the only reason that they would have let The Rock keep it is because of the knee injury, but maybe they didn't realize how bad it was at the time. But yeah, I think Triple H winning was the right move.
Oh, I can't. I'm feeling weird about believing both of you. I don't know. Diamond Dallas Parv, are you gonna make me a believer? Are you gonna make me not believe anybody and think that The Rock should have been the champion? What do you think?
Well, the thing is, I do think they made the right call. Like, granted, in the hindsight of it, with everything that happened, yeah, maybe probably keep Triple H from winning, so the title didn't have to go vacant. But just ignore the whole knee injury and stuff like that. These two men were literally probably at the star power, like rising star power, you could say. Like when John Cena won the US title, that was the pinnacle moment of him becoming a rising star. And I feel like both men were in that position with just The Rock being or a little bit more further along in his career than Triple H. And I think it was that moment that really cement Triple H into becoming a star. And it definitely was The Rock's time to move on from the IC title and from the mid card. Um, because at this point you have a lot of people leaving at this time and everything. You have to make new stars. So you can't just keep The Rock and Triple H both in the mid card fighting for the IC belt. Who else is going to take that spot? Who else is? AKA Triple H.
Sexual chocolate, Mark Henry, who was in the corner. He's just gonna take it. He's gonna be like, "Look, she has sugar. It's my belt now."
Um, so do believe 100% that they made the right move with Triple H winning. to cement that stamp of approval that, hey, we're looking at the future here with Triple H. So yeah.
I disagree, and here's why I disagree. Um, if you look at The Rock's wrestling style and a lot of the matches he had a no disqualification match at WrestleMania 17 versus Stone Cold. He had a last man standing match against Mankind. He had a empty arena match versus Mankind. He's had so many impactful matches where they're very hard hitting, and this is one of them. And I think he should have won, and they could have maybe. I think that they wanted him to be a bigger face when he got the world title, and I don't think he needed to do that. I think he could have had the IC belt and been a big face. And I think Triple H winning, cool, good for him, whatever. But it doesn't really like do anything to me in wrestling. The Rock winning is different. The Rock is on a different level than the Triple H, and if you don't believe that, I'm sorry. I don't know where you're coming from because I don't come from that. I come from The Rock. Triple H, when I grew up, I was like, he's all right. But The Rock was the superstar. You know what I mean?
Disagree in that sense because I never joined the Rock bandwagon. Not once did I join him. I thought he was overrated. I thought his in-ring work was not as great and stuff. Looking at what the company wanted and looking at where he was going, I could definitely see why they wanted to make him a star. But the thing is, I never got over on him. I hate wrestlers who literally just basically get over for their persona and that's it. He is not that great of an in-ring worker. When you put him up against other men of his caliber, like The Undertaker and Triple H and Shawn Michaels and everybody like that, he's the worst in-ring worker. And I never joined the Rock bandwagon. And I honestly, he could have stayed in the mid card for all I care. And I feel like looking back at it with their careers and everything, I think Triple H had more of an impactful career. He had a better career. And I not only just enjoyed his in ring work, but I enjoyed his charisma and his character work and stuff like that a whole lot better than The Rock. What The Rock have going for him? Raise an eyebrow and crack a few jokes.
He's a
That's all
great one.
for him.
Barb, he's a great one. He's
What?
the Brahma
The great
Bull.
what? It definitely ain't in ring work,
Oh, for me it was, and that's okay.
but that's about
Wait, wait,
it.
wait.
He's
But
a great.
since we're talking about in ring work, I do have a question to ask everybody. And ladder matches have come a long way. We we've had Money in the Bank. We've had 3 different tag teams. We've had 4 different tag teams. We've had women Money in the Bank now. We've had. I'm trying to think of something else that if anybody wants to talk about. We've had in WCW they had a match where it was a steel cage and you had to open the ladder and pull something off up top over that was all the way up top. Um, but when ladder matches really started, there were only a few in WWF. We're talking about the top 5 best SummerSlam, and this is obviously SummerSlam '98. But I want to ask you guys: take Money in the Bank out of it. Take all the stuff to Edge and Christian and the Dudleys. Take the few ladder matches that you might know about that aren't that, where it's one guy on one guy. Where do you think this ladder match ranks? Does it rank in the top 5? And if so, where? Joe Dallas.
Uh, with a simple like one-on-one ladder match,
Yeah.
I think it's definitely up there. It's definitely top 5. It's probably at 5 for me. Um Like there's in a one-on-one ladder match, there's no topping Shawn and Razor at WrestleMania 10. Like that's the top. And then I'm trying to think what else would be on that list, but I might even put it at like 3, honestly. We'll go with 3. But it's definitely top 5 no matter what.
Okay. Top 5. Joe Dallas says it's top 5 and it's in the 5. This ladder match, which is Triple H versus The Rock for the WWF. That's right. Intercontinental Championship. Rams. Where do you put it? Do you put it in the top 5? Where you got it? What number?
I'd probably have to agree, but it's definitely within the top 5 matches, especially with seeing as Triple H was injured throughout the match and how well he handled the match. Like it doesn't seem like he was really injured that bad until like until Rock really started working on his leg, and it just they played off each other really well throughout the match, and he handled himself and carried himself really good through it, even with the injury.
I'll give you that. It's not easy. I will give Triple H Barb because you want me to give you're over there like, please to say something nice about Triple H. You got it. I will. It's not easy to be injured in a match and especially in a ladder match and win. So props to him. Barb. Ram said it's on 3. He said it's in the top 5. It's number 3. Joe Dallas says it's in the top 5. It's number 5. Where do you put it?
It's not in the top 5. I'm just going to say it now. It's not in the top 5. And I love Triple H. I love him. But at the same time, I know when a ladder match does not stand the test of time, and all of this other stuff. Maybe it peaks top 10. But other than that, it doesn't hit the top 5. Because I can name my top 5.
Well, wait, wait. But all the obviously, if you name your top 5, it can't be a Money in the Bank match. It can't be with
Nope.
Edge and
Nope.
Christian and
It's
the Dudleys and the
one-on-one men's
Hardys.
matches.
What's that?
It's one-on-one men matches.
All right, go
It's
ahead. Let's
not
hear
Money
it.
in the Bank or anything.
I want to
First of
hear it.
all, top of the list is definitely going to be Razor Ramon versus Shawn Michaels at SummerSlam 95, just 3 years prior to this match. I would put Shawn Michaels versus Chris Jericho. No Mercy 2008. Probably maybe 2 or 3. Edge versus Jeff Hardy in 2009. Just to name one. Another Shawn Michaels match, WrestleMania 21, Shawn Michaels versus Kurt Angle. 2001, Edge versus Jeff Hardy. Uh, Jeff Hardy versus The Undertaker.
Okay, cool.
Uh,
That match wasn't a ladder match. I thought it wasn't a ladder
it
match.
was a ladder match.
That match was a ladder match. Wow.
The Undertaker Jeff Hardy one was a ladder match because I was there for that one.
But all those matches are way later. Like you're talking about 2000.
Well, no, not all of them, because you have to think it's like Shawn and Brett had a better ladder match, and that happened in '92. I mean, Jeff and the Undertaker didn't happen that much later. You got Razor Ramon and Shawn Michaels and everything like that. I mean, at the time, yeah, it was probably one of the best. But at the same time, that ladder match didn't stand the test of time. You can't just look at everything that happened in the past, because at that point there wasn't that many ladder matches to begin with. You have to think there was only you have to think there wasn't that many ladder matches to begin with. Ladder matches just started to become a thing around the mid 90s, and this happened in 98. So, like, granted, if you're looking at just from that time period, just from before then, yeah, I will say it was one of the better ones, top 5 easily. But the match didn't stand the test of time. And I'm not even talking about ladder matches from today's time. The earliest or the latest one that I even mentioned was probably Edge versus Jeff Hardy in 2009. So it didn't stand the test of time for me.
Do you think the reason it didn't stand the test of time is because people don't like The Rock, or don't like Triple H, and that's the way it is with people? Is that why you
No,
think it didn't?
you have to look at the match quality itself, and that
True.
doesn't matter. I could sit here and I'm the biggest Jeff Hardy fan in the entire world, basically.
Hmm.
But I will say this: he had some poopy Duke matches. Like, I love Edge. He's had some poopy Duke matches. I like it, and it doesn't matter how much of a big fan of Triple H I am. I can admit when he has a poopy Duke match, it's the in-ring match that is. It doesn't matter who's in it. It's about the quality of the match itself. And if the quality of the match did not live up to the test of time or whatever you want to say and stuff like that, then I'm going to call the match out straight up.
I love that I'm rubbing up on you. Listen to this. My Barb's been on almost every episode, and here she is saying "Poopy Duke." I love it. It makes me so happy to hear that. I think this. I'm gonna give. I'm gonna give. I'm not gonna. With not thinking about Shawn Michaels and Chris Jericho from 2009, I think this match does go in the top five. I don't put it at five. I don't put it at three. I'll put it at four. The other matches I think better than it are absolutely right. Number one is SummerSlam '95, Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon. Then I still like the first one. I mean the first pay per view one. Excuse me, Razor Ramon, Shawn Michaels, number 10, WrestleMania 10. Then I can't remember what year it is, but there's, I hate saying this guy's name. Excuse me. Don't go crazy. We're gonna have a conspiracy episode one day. Benoit versus Jericho in a ladder match, which stole the show for that Rumble for me. Then I would say number four is this match, and then I would say number five is the Undertaker Jeff Hardy. All those other matches they named, Barb, I'm sorry, they didn't like pop in my head like the '95 match. I always remember that SummerSlam match because I said that before I watched it, I said to somebody I was watching with, I said, "This is gonna be even better than WrestleMania 10." He said, "Yeah, why do you think so?" I said, "Because it's always better the second time. Look at The Empire Strikes Back. Look at any movie that usually the second movie is good." So yeah, um, I think this match stole the show, not because of the ladder match, not because of the IC belt, but because he had Triple H and The Rock, who were two up and coming guys. You know, they both were going to obviously be in the title picture. If you didn't see that, you were blind, just like our friend Blind Guy, shout out. Um, you had to see it, right? I mean, didn't you, Diamond Dallas Page? You had to see that they were going to be in the title picture and not that far away.
Oh, exactly. I knew they were gonna be. That's why I said it cemented Triple H as being okay. Yeah, he's gonna be a top star, and so is The Rock. I knew that. Granted, I give two shits about The Rock, but I knew. Besides just this ladder match, I already knew these two guys were going somewhere.
Well, one guy went up the ladder, and the other guy probably flew. I'm pretty sure The Rock flew outside the ring. That's how the match ended. That's how they used to do ladder matches. Make sure the guy goes over the top rope and flies out there and can't get, like, he'll finally get up just as he's reaching the belt and pulls it down. Does anybody else have to say anything about this match that stole the show from SummerSlam 1998?
No,
Because we're gonna move on.
think we said it all.
Oh, you better believe it. We're gonna move on to the main event. The main event. Oh man, of SummerSlam. I mean, this is a legendary main event, and if you don't think it's legendary, then something is wrong with you. It is for the WWF Championship, and it is the greatest wrestler that has ever lived. I don't care what you got to say out there and be like Ric Flair and John Cena. No, he's the only one I've ever seen As soon as his music goes off, everyone stands the fuck up. I've never seen anybody ever do that. I don't care who you are. Brian Danielson waving his arms around. No, 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 no. Everybody won't be standing up. Everybody stands up for him. Stone Cold Steve Austin fighting the Undertaker. That's right, the real Undertaker, not the fake one that Leslie Nielsen was looking for a couple years before. This is the real Undertaker. Joe Dallas, what does this match impact on you as a wrestling fan?
As a, how old would I have been at this time? 98. I was like 14 or so. This match made me want to watch this entire show. Just the build up of The Undertaker versus Stone Cold made me want to watch this show. And I'm pretty sure I did watch it live. And yeah, it's a great match. You got two of the greatest legends of that era fighting each other in the main event. The fact that they had ACDC doing the theme song and everything for the pay per view, it's just amazing. And the fact that Stone Cold wound up beating the Undertaker, that was, I can't really, I don't, there's not really anything bad I can say about this match. I really enjoyed this match.
I know somebody on this podcast now, I'm pretty sure, was a. What would they? I'm pretty. Don't be upset if I say this the wrong way. I'll make sure I say it the right way. They were a military brat, and they had to travel all over because their family was in the military, and they would watch wrestling with somebody that was in their family, and that's how they became a wrestling fan. And my question is, who did you watch this event with? Diamond Dallas Park.
This is 98. I watched it with my dad.
And
Uh,
how
for
was how was his reaction to this event, to this main event?
Me and my dad both had the same reaction to the match. We really loved it. We we were both shocked by the beginning of the match, with Austin getting concussed. It was we were we were petrified at a moment because we really thought the match was going to end, and we were like, no, there's more to go, we need more. But overall, this was one of the highlights of the year for us.
I love that for you. It makes me happy hearing that family members watch it together. Um, Rams, this is very different for you because you know me. I'm gonna tell you something about me. I went to a Madison Square Garden show and saw Austin there. I went to 3 Raws in Philly. Austin was there. I sat, man. I used to drink beer. I don't anymore, but I drank a lot of beer and then sat like 3 rows away from the end and was like, "Here's Austin." And I squished him, like squish, 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 with my little fingers. I got to see him live. For you, you got to see him on Peacock, which isn't a bad thing. What what was your reaction to Stone Cold? Does it still hit? Does it still hit the same way that it did for a guy like me who was at the show? When you watch it on TV, is it the same?
It probably wasn't the exact same, but I really enjoyed the match. I mean, the Undertaker really showed that he respected his opponent and wanted to be one on one, especially, and didn't want any interference to show that he could beat him, even though he didn't. And that it really cemented Austin at the place where he was as the superstar that he was so big. He beat the Undertaker at SummerSlam. He did it, and the Undertaker sending Kane back to the back after he came out there, I thought that was a really like a cherry on top to the match of Undertaker respecting Austin.
But as much respect and fandom that these guys had, something happened in this match that you I'm pretty sure know about, right? What happened? What did the Undertaker do?
Are you talking about the slip up in the choke slam?
Go ahead, tell us how it happened.
Well, he had Austin on the outside of the apron, and then he went to pick him up to choke slam him, and then he stumbled halfway across the ring to do the choke slam on Austin. Like it didn't that great.
That sounds dangerous. Madison Square Garden. If nobody's ever been, has anyone here in the line been to Madison Square Garden? Anybody?
No.
Diamond Dallas Bar. Have you been to Madison Square Garden?
Never even set foot in the state of New York.
Fine. So the way to get there, you get off of Grand Central Station. You walk up the stairs, and you walk like 1 or 2 blocks, and then boom, it's out of nowhere. It's different. It's so different. And you go inside, and it's an arena, but it is tiny. So doing things on the apron, if something goes wrong, you could hit a fan or something could go terribly wrong. Why they did something like this, I always like Rams talk about this move, and then I was watching it, and because I'm crazy. I'll watch the event 5 times if I have to, and I was watching it, and I saw that move, and I was like, why did they do that? And wrestlers do that today still. Why push the envelope if you're already Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Undertaker? Barb, why would they do that?
Mm, I don't know why, honestly.
I mean, is anybody? I mean, if any of you guys have a reason for me why they did a move like that, like they're already Stone Cold Steve Austin and Undertaker, do they really need to do that?
Feel in this sense, no, they definitely didn't do it. But at the same time, I guess you are the Rock or not the Rock. You are the Undertaker, and you are so. So I guess in the sense, the fans want the Rock and oh my God, he is now on my mind, and I'm going to hate this forever. You are the Undertaker, and you are Stone Cold. So even though you technically don't need to prove yourself and stuff and do certain things like this, the same got to give what you got to give the fans what they want. You gotta do it because they don't wrestling fans who come there and they want to see the main event, which is the Undertaker and Stone Cold. They don't want to see you not do something big.
Yeah, but I don't want somebody to do something reckless where they can get injured. Like, why do something reckless that could hurt you? Like,
Well,
they could have gotten really injured.
go ask Jeff Hardy. Go ask Jeff Hardy.
Oh, I'm not. Come on, come on. We're talking about Stone Cold and The Rock. I mean, Stone Cold and The Undertaker. Excuse me. They know what they're doing. They know they need to do that move. The reason they did that move, I will never know. If anybody knows in this wonderful episode of the Crouching Chronicles that we're doing, please tell me. But I will never know the reason they did that. And Jeff Hardy, there's different reasons that he does what he does. We're not going to get into them right now because this is SummerSlam '98, and from what I know, Jeff Hardy wasn't on this card, was he?
No, he was not.
No, he was not.
Stone Cold was, and Undertaker was, and I'll say this: Stone Cold Steve Austin, and you can say what you want, most dominant champion who defeated the best challengers. Look at the people he defeated. Look how he defeated them. Look how he held on to his belt. This is the Undertaker at SummerSlam in an event that's called the Highway to Hell, and he won. T- Tell me if I'm wrong. All right, it sounds like I'm right. All right, thank you, everyone. This has been the end of the episode. No, I'm joking, but like, let's face it, Stone Cold Steve Austin was the best champion in WWE. Had the best challengers, defeated all of them. Went to these big matches like SummerSlam and won. I mean, who? There's nobody better than him, right? That's out there now, and there won't be, I don't think, ever.
I can
Anybody?
agree with that. I can agree with that.
Joe agrees. And anybody else? Anybody disagree? Anybody want to say something different? Go right ahead.
Nope.
You can't really disagree with that.
Damn. All right. Well, I guess, I mean, does anybody have anything else that we're missing from this match that they want to say?
I think we covered it all.
Well, we're going to move to the last segment, I guess, because this has been a fantastic episode of SummerSlam 98. Probably one of the most pivotal Attitude Era events that most people don't think about. And here's the final question, everybody: yay or nay? And that's what's yay or nay? Yay or nay is: does this event need? Do you agree this event should have been number 4 on the list, or would you have replaced it with something else? Rams, what do you think?
Uh, I think it honestly does belong where it was. You had a lot of like decent matches. It may not have the best endings to one or two, but all around it was a win for the fans. I thought, and it was good matches for the fans. Like they got all the faces, one except for one match, and that was the D'Lo match. And I just thought that they don't do a lot of that and give the fans what they want in a lot of pay-per-views. And so this kind of ranks kind of high. So I would say yes, it does belong where it's at.
Joe Dallas, yay or nay? What do you think about this SummerSlam 1998? That was number 4 on the WWE.com SummerSlam list. Do you think it deserves to be there?
It definitely deserves to be in the top 5. I might even push it up to 3, and that might just be me being biased because this was one of my favorite SummerSlams, one of my like top 3 favorite SummerSlams of all time. So it definitely deserves to be there. What number it's at, that's kind of subjective to whoever is, talking about it at the time. But yeah, it's definitely I would put it at like number 3, honestly.
Number 3, he's going with. He said, keep it on the list, and he gave it a number. I love that. Diamond Dallas Bart, what are you giving SummerSlam 98? What do you think about it? Yay, nay? You give it a number? You going to give it a name? What are you going to do with it?
I'm probably going to go ahead and shock people here, but I'm running it back that I have to disagree with WWE.com. This, I will say this: top 10, definitely, but it just doesn't quite make the top 5 list. It's one of those things that it's like you had some okay, you had some okay undercard matches, but at the same time, your pay-per-view can't be carried by only 2 matches. It can't. And that's why it does not quite it may I sometimes even debate on if this should even be in the top 10. Um I I really go back and forth on it. But at the same time, is it one of the better ones? Because we're celebrating the 38th SummerSlam this year. So there's lots and lots of SummerSlams. So me rating it pretty high, you got to think, yeah, it was very, very good. But at the same time, it there's plenty of other SummerSlams that the whole card was amazing. So in terms of the entirety of the pay-per-view, it doesn't hit. It doesn't. And um so I have to say nay.
Oh, like, nay, take it off the whole, like, take it off the top 5. Like, get out of here.
Get off the top 5, yeah.
Well, last one, we all said nay. on 2008. We all were like, get it out of here. It's not that good. Barb, it's coming out here talking about SummerSlam 1998. Nay, get it off the list. So go to Chair Shots on Friday and talk to her about it. Like, yo, Barb, what's up? You don't like SummerSlam 98? Because I like it. And here's what I'm going to
Well,
say.
it's a good pay-per-view, but but like I said, you can't. Okay, let me say this.
Don't be, Barb, I'm
You
giving
have.
you a plug. Don't be upset. I'm plugging you
I'm
here.
not. I'm not. I'm just
Okay.
saying, if SummerSlam was just legit the ladder match and the main event, 100%, it would belong in the top 5. But in the entirety of the whole pay-per-view, it doesn't quite make the list because there are a handful of other matches that not only are the main event amazing, but the entire undercard had really, really, really good matches. Maybe one match out of the entire bunch was a flop, but when the undercard is delivering just as well as the main event, you have to give props where it's due. And when only 2 matches hit and are even ranked out of 10 stars, ranked above a 7, it stinks. Most of these matches on this card did not even hit a 6. So yeah, I can't put it in the top. I can't.
Okay. Well, Barb, it's a yay for me. I'm going to tell you why. I can remember Living Dangerously had RVD and Jerry Lynn on it, right? I can remember that the Royal Rumble, what the thing? Oh God, maybe I won't remember, but I think it was '92 or '91 is where Ric Flair won, right? I can remember this event because this was one of the bigger events in the Attitude Era, and it really solidified Stone Cold Steve Austin as a really good champion. Like one of the guests on here talked about how Kane came out at the end, and Undertaker said, "Hey, stop." That shows respect towards the champion. That Stone. This is the Attitude Era. Was really the Stone Cold era. Like they could have called it either or. You can call it the Attitude Era, or you can call it the time of Stone Cold when he whooped everyone's ass. And I know some matches were a little funky, but I think that's because when we were watching them, is when they were maybe doing different storylines. Maybe it was a weird, funky point. But the ladder match, the Sable match, even the match we didn't really talk about, Mankind getting hit with a sledgehammer by Kane was cool. And then the main event, Stone Cold. So I would have kept this match still in the top 5. I would keep it at number 4. And I think this event does stand like it stands, certain events can stand the test of time, meaning I can go back, like I'm 43 now, so I can go back and watch something and still enjoy it. This event
So
stands the test of time. Go ahead.
so so I have a question for you because you said something, and I respect everybody's decision and everything. I respect that.
Always go right ahead.
So let me just ask you this, because the thing is, I disagree. I feel that, especially in the Attitude Era, this was one of the best pay-per-views of the Attitude Era. But when you sit there and say it stood the test of time, I don't think so. I don't think that 2 matches stood the test of time in the sense of, especially like when you think about like women's matches. These 2 women in this match definitely did not stand the test of time. I mean, D'Lo and D'Lo and Val Venus had a great match, but the ending was so wonky. It was just like, wait, what? And then it's just like the oddities was like on there, and it was like a squash match from hell. And then the hair versus hair match wasn't great. And then the it to me, I just feel like a lot of these matches did not stand the test of time. And when I can only remember 2 matches on a card, basically, when you think just off the top of my head. But there's other pay-per-views that I could other SummerSlams that I can legit remember every single match and pretty much every moment, and I could play that pay-per-view in my head. That means it stands the test of time, basically. So in the sense, I have a big question for you. Because technically, besides Rams, grew up in the Attitude Era, basically, and everything like that. And it being our favorite era of all time, because I think that's a fair statement with Joe and you, Crouchant, that the Attitude Era was the best era, right? Because
Yeah.
because
I
the
mean,
attitude.
I liked all like I would say eras. Yes, I enjoy eras, but really it was like all my favorite thing was all of ECW. I really loved that more than the Attitude Era. But I
I
will say you're right. Yes, Attitude Era was probably the best
Okay,
era. Ruthless Aggression's coming in a
so
close second, but
because it was such a big it was such a big pay-per-view and one of our favorite times and everything. Do you not feel that maybe that just because this pay-per-view is so sentiment to people, or to like uh the the Attitude Era fans, that's what motivates them more to maybe put this in the top 5 versus, oh yeah, it definitely stands the test of time? Because because multiple times you and Joe both have said that, um talked about the Attitude Era and everything, and oh, Austin was so big and versus Undertaker, blah 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 blah. This really cemented him. I'm not taking away anything from that, because I am an Attitude Era baby too, and the Attitude Era was my favorite. But I think, and I think I think I just have a different brain than people. So like I kind of I kind of think things differently. But it was just one of those things that you just in explaining, you kept mentioning the Attitude Era. So I just wanted to know, is that one of the fuelers of putting it on there? Because even in today's time, I don't think it stands up to a lot of the Summer Slams from the
I
past,
I get what
of
you're
like
saying.
the past 10 years.
I get what you're saying. You're saying like, do you agree that this is like this because of nostalgia? Like, are me and Joe kind of putting it on that list because it's nostalgia to us? And no, what? Probably I'll say that it is probably it's probably not all of it, but it's probably part of it. I mean, Stone Cold Steve Austin and going to events back then where it was so much fun. It was just a good time. It was a good time in wrestling, and there was nobody. There weren't people on TikTok causing rumors and hate. It was just go to a show, have fun, stand up, go crazy. Steve Austin's driving a beer truck to the ring. So, I mean, I could see where you're coming from in a way. I mean,
Yeah, and I straight up said I was being biased when I put it like at number 3. Like that was a complete bias on my end, just because I love that era so much. I really did enjoy that SummerSlam. Um, Whether it stands the test of time, I don't know about that, but you know,
I just ask because I do respect your opinion and everything. Because granted, when you think about just being in the Attitude Era, I would rank this above, like in the Attitude Era, I would probably rank this in the probably number 4 or 5 of the pay-per-views in the Attitude Era. I enjoyed this back then, so, but I guess in my sense, it's like, and I think I had this conversation with you too, Mala Shimmy Jones, when we did the WrestleMania series and stuff like that. So, and you had asked answers and stuff, and everybody gave kind of more sentimental moments. And I guess in my brain, I'm just more of a fact person, and I guess that's just how my brain has always worked. I do put sentiment in my answers a little bit, but it's not it sentiment is always like 10% to factual for me. And I guess I'm more based because, like I said earlier, it's like even if my favorite wrestler has a poopy dude match, I'm just gonna say it. Like I'll say this: Becky Lynch is my favorite female wrestler of all time. But at the same time, I will sit here and say this: do I wish she would come up with a different gimmick right now? Hell yeah. Like I could sit there and say when one of my favorites is getting boring or when they had a poopy duke match and stuff like that. Because I'm not afraid to say that. Because at the end of the day, I'm still their fan. And not even when you could say your favorite band, you could probably say, you know what, that album was trash. I'm I'm not afraid to say that. So I guess I'm starting to realize a lot that I don't put sentiment behind my answers very much.
But that's okay. I mean, it's different though. Like, think about it. Like you said, certain events you'll probably remember, but because of watching them with certain people, like your father, and you probably remember more about, like, for example, when you met Matt Hardy, you remember everything you talked about. You remember probably the whole card, what match started the show, all that stuff because you went there. Um, that's going to be nostalgic in your brain. Everybody has a different nostalgic brain. I guess the attitude era for me, it was my teenage years in high school, and wrestling was really huge at that point. I mean, when you went in school on Tuesday, everybody was talking about what Austin did or what happened on Raw. Or da, 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 da. It was way different back then. So I could kind of see what you're saying. Maybe I do put in some nostalgia behind my answer, but that's who I am as a fan. That's probably who I'll always be as a fan, and that's fine. You know what I mean? We're always gonna have different opinions, and that's one thing on the Crowd Chant Chronicles I always welcome. As long as you're not a jerk or a weirdo or anything like that, like not a fun weirdo, like our friend that sticks noodles up his nose, like a like a like we don't want any creepy weirdos like creeps. I always expect I always respect someone's opinion. I may not have the same one, but that's what it is. What it is. Um, this has been a wonderful, fantastic episode talking about the SummerSlam 1998. I think I've been the most calm I've ever been doing a podcast. I don't know why. I guess talking about Stone Cold Steve Austin puts me in my Zen mode. Um, and I've had fun doing this. Next, coming up, our next episode, because yes, we're doing all five, will be SummerSlam 1992. So I do want to thank all three of my guests who've been on. Check them out in the Cactus F and Chris universe and check them out on Chair Shots. Obviously, I told you about what both their shows are. Before they say goodbye, I want to ask them a question. And the question is, and we'll start with you, Rams. Rams, thanks for coming on. Once again, this is your second episode. I can't wait for you to be on so many more. The next episode, what we might have you, we might have different guests. Who knows? Crowd Chant Chronicles universe is ever expanding, growing every day. Thank you for being on. But also, are you a Hitman fan? Are you a Bulldog fan?
Uh, I don't like Brett, so I'm gonna have to go with Bulldog.
And thank you for coming. Thank you for being on the show once again. You really like. I know you probably enjoyed this episode of SummerSlam, and had a fun time watching it.
Yeah, I really did. I really enjoyed being on your show. I appreciate you letting me on.
Absolutely, anytime in the future, or who knows? Hopefully, someday we can all like meet and have a live show. Who knows? Um, Joe Dallas, I know you're going to answer. I don't know why I'm even asking you this question, but thank you for being on the show. And were you a Hitman fan or were you a Bulldog fan?
I mean, I was a Bulldog fan too, but my childhood was all about Bret Hart. I was a Bret Hart guy. And speaking of, hey Brett, what do you think about Rams not liking you? Well, I'm sorry I'm not Lady Gaga, but should be a fan of mine. They're Rams. Well, apparently he knows that you love Lady Gaga. That's fine. But
Darn.
yeah, I can't even do it without laughing, honestly.
Oh
Um,
my god, I'm dying. I'm dying over here off the mic. Oh my god, that was great. Um, and last but not least, been on almost every single episode except for two. I don't want to say why she wasn't on there. She knows why. Um, Diamond Dallas Barb, what do you got to say? And were you a Hitman fan or were you a Bulldog fan?
I liked Bret Hart in certain parts of his career, but I'm gonna have to go with I really enjoyed the British Bulldog more. I just did. I feel he captivated me in the ring more so than Bret did. And yeah.
And of course, I'm Mala Jimmy Jones. You can find me on TikTok, being live, talking to all these guys are always in my live, and other people are always welcome um, to come. And you can find me on there, same name as this, Crouch Hand Chronicles. You can find Barb and Joe on Chair Shots, Rams. You can find on Cactus Chris in the comments or winning trivia because I think you just won. Didn't you just win something, Rams? What did you just win?
I won a Rob Zombie Funko on Curtis P's stream the other day.
Boom, winning it on other people's. Yes, everyone should also go out check out Curtis P. Why not? He did a fantastic music trivia. Um, please check out Chair Shots. Check out Cactus Chris. My name's Molly Jimmy Jones. Oh, I didn't give my answer. That's right, because you're gonna have to come back for the next episode when it's SummerSlam 1992, and you're gonna hear who I like, whether it's Bret or Hitman Hart or the British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith. Thank you for listening to the Crouch Chant Chronicles podcast. Have a good day.